Hey, welcome back to class. Let's go ahead and start off the way we've been starting off by reviewing our previous strikes. So we're gonna start over the shoulder and we're gonna go with upward strikes 1 through 5 first. So upward strike number 1, going through that center line, catching it with the butt of the chuck, pointed towards the front. Trying to make sure that we catch it in the black, not in the white each time. Make sure you are reaching out. All right, I don't wanna just be in close here. I wanna reach out with each one of these. Imagine actually hitting somebody with this. Okay, now let's go to upward strike number 2. So we've got that small outside circle here. It happens as soon as we get to the solar plexus level. And then the circle goes straight up the center line. We catch it the same way, butt of the chuck pointed forward, chuck is horizontal. Still reaching out as we do these strikes. Now we're gonna move on to upward strike number 3. Landing it with on the arm, tip of the chuck slightly upwards, elbows out, bring the elbow in as you lower the tip of the chuck, so that goes horizontal, and then that chuck will fall right to where it would have gone if you were doing an upward 1. Make sure we're going right up the center line as we do this. And upward number 4. Now we're going with a bigger circle towards the outside. We're going up and out, and then straight up that center line. So it's similar to our upward strike number 2, where we've got a bigger motion. We want to make sure that first motion is going up at a 45-degree angle. And then swoop it back around and go right up that center line, catching it, same thing, butt of the chuck, pointed to the front. Time I'm doing a bigger circle, so the chucks should look relatively straight, kind of like if I was swinging a stick, as opposed to a small circle where you can see the bend in the chuck. Now we're gonna go to upward strike number 5. So this one looks like a big figure 8. So I go up at that 45 and then up at the other 45. If you're taking my Kali class as well, this strike is an upward angle 6 and then an upward angle 5. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to our downward strikes. So start with the shoulder, downward strike 1, the exact opposite of upward strike 1. Try to catch it so that the chuck is horizontal, the butt of the chuck is pointed to the front. Still reaching out with each one of these strikes, getting that extension in the arms. And let's go to downward strike number 2. Same thing, it's the exact opposite of upward strike number 1. So we've still got that circle happening once we get to that solar plexus level. The second strike, right, so we've got 1, 2, after the circle is going right down that center line. And let's go to downward strike number 3. So, downward strike number 3, we learned this one in the last class. Looks like this. Go ahead and practice it. Try to practice landing it into your hand every single time. Step off and out. Step front, back. Okay, now we're gonna do downward strike number 4. So similar to downward strike 2 is to 1, 4 is to 3, where we have the downward outside circle. And again, we're doing this when we get the chuck to our solar plexus level, so right in the center of our chest. That's where the circle's happening. And we're stepping off and throwing it behind our back. Okay, so from here we're gonna go to our sideways strikes. So we have sideways strikes 1 to 3. Let's begin, sideways strike number 1. This is our lateral over, under, and raise up with that upward 3 for the reset. Try to make sure that upward 3 is going right up that center line. Don't go too much at an angle. I know that momentum wants to go and keep it at that angle, but try to go straight up. All right, so our next one is going to be our sideways strike number 2. So here, lateral under over, raise it up and over the head. And same thing, other side, up and over the head. Make sure this one's not going down at this 45-degree angle. We want to make sure that it's going sideways, right? We might have a slight tilt downwards as we're throwing it, but it's not a 45-degree tilt. It's more horizontal, right? Rather than completely diagonal. Okay, now we're gonna do sideways strike number 3. So this is just the around the neck. Make sure that if you were to let go of them, the chuck would be sitting on your neck, the string would be down here, and wouldn't be like this, right? I want to have it all the way down here. And notice how it's even on both sides, it's not here. So we want to make sure that as we're going for that catch, the actual catch, and then our arms should be crossed, making that X. Let go of 1, and upward 3, and then around again, upward 3. Now this one can go completely horizontal. You don't have to angle it up or down. Just completely sideways. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is variation strikes. So we're gonna do variation strikes 1 and 2. So variation strike 1 is that downward strike, followed by a sideways strike 1, upward 3 for the reset. Down, side, up. Down, side, up. sure you stop that downward strike at that solar plexus level, right? So I don't want to loop it. See how the tip of my chuck isn't looping around? I want to stop it. The chuck that I'm swinging loops, but the chuck that I'm holding stays still-ish, right? I'm not going to go down, point it all the way down to the ground and then out to the side. I want to stop it and go around. Stop and around. So I stop in that center. And variation strike number 2. So down, and then this is our under over. Bring it around the head for the reset. Downward strike, under over, down, under over. Same thing, I don't want to point it all the way down to the ground as I do it, and I'm not dropping it down there. I want to stop it at my chest height and loop it around and throw in that second sideways strike. Last one is going to be our forward strike, number 1. We want to try to pop it each time. Remember, the popping comes from that. So as you're throwing this out, make sure you don't drop the tip of the chuck downwards. We want to shoot it forward, and then we have a little bit of a pullback right at the end to prevent it from being pulled down like that. Of course, this is always easier said than done. This is a pretty difficult one to be able to do correctly. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Same thing, other side. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to just do random callouts. So I'm gonna say a strike and you're gonna do the strike. So let's start off with downward strike 1. Upward strike 2. Downward strike 3. Upward strike 4. Sideways strike 1. That was going to be a 3. 1. Variation 2. And downward 2. Upward 5. Downward 4. Sideways 3. Upward 2. Upward 4. Upward 2. Side 2. Forward 1. Do 3 on each side. Upward 1. Up 3. Gripping. up 2, variation 1, and time. Take a breath. Now we're going to do variation strike number 3. Can you take a guess what variation strike number 3 is? It's following the pattern. Variation strike 1, variation strike 2. All right, so if you guessed a downward strike followed by a sideways 3 strike, you would be correct. And then an upward 3 for our reset. Down, side 3, up 3. Now I promise this is the last one where that pattern continues, where it's just a down strike followed by a sideways strike. For the variations after that, they change. It's not gonna be another down strike and then sideways strike 4 next, I promise you. Right? Yeah, right. Definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and practice this. Downward strike, remember we're stopping it right around that solar plexus level, and then we're going sideways with it, making sure we're doing a good sideways 3 strike, not some janky one. We don't want the arms over here. We wanna make that X. Remember the hand that's catching is going to catch over the top on the outside. All right, so if this hand was catching, it would be on the outside. This hand's catching, it's gonna be on the outside. And whichever hand caught does that upward 3 strike, and then we'll reset. Downward, go around, catching hand on the top, and up. All right, let's practice. Down, side, up, down, sideways 3, upward 3, down, side 3, up 3, down, side 3, up 3. Keep it going. Make sure to stop it in that center. Move around and up. And you throw on the other one, other hand to the center. Here. Around, other hand to the center. Okay, so since you probably feel a little bit comfortable with this, since we knew the pieces of it, let's go ahead and try to start speeding it up just a little bit. If you're not feeling quite comfortable with it yet, you still need to take it slow, that's fine. But if you're feeling comfortable, speed it up. How fast can you go? While still making it look relatively pretty. Don't start swinging it and it being all kind of janky and all over the place. All right. Try to keep that good form going even as we start to speed it up. In and out. Breathe in and out. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna practice combination number 1, basic combination number 1. Okay, so we practiced this a few times. Hopefully you still remember it. So before I start, I want you to go ahead and say out loud the order of which the strikes go. I'll help you out. After we get into our ready position, the first one is a downward 1. So say the rest. So we got downward 1, upward 1, sideways 1, variation 1, and forward 1. Right, so we got 5 strikes. We do have a few upward 3s as resets in there, but I'm not counting those. I'm just counting the strikes themselves. Right. So let's go ahead and let's start. I'm going to start with opening it. Bow, left foot, right foot, up 3 to get in ready position, and begin. Down 1, up 1, side 1, 3 for the reset, variation 1, 3 for the reset, forward 1, 3 for the reset. Reach over, present, right, left, close, and out. Okay, so we're gonna open it again. Bow, left, right, open 3. Now we're not gonna close at the end of this one, right? So let's go ahead and let's go for it. So down 1, up 1, side 1, variation 1, forward 1. And again, down 1, up 1, side 1, variation 1, forward 1. Again, down, up, side, variation, forward. Again, down, up, side, variation, forward. Go. Down, up, side, variation, forward. Go. Down, up, side, variation, forward. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that we're still catching it, not like this, but down here. Butt of the chuck pointed forward. We don't want to raise it up here. Catch it here. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. Reach over and let's close it. Present. Together. Out. All right. I'm going to face to the side and we'll do a few more. Open. And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again. Down. Up. Side. Variation. Forward. One more. Down, up, side, oop, variation, forward. And we're gonna do one more because I messed that one up. And go. Down, up, side, variation, forward, and close. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Let's open. Pass it to our left hand. And we're gonna practice our left hand a few times. Same thing. So downward 1, upward 1, sideways 1, variation 1, forward 1. And begin. Down, up, side, variation, forward. 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 Okay, and let's go ahead and we'll close this out. Take a breath. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do another combination. This one's gonna be variation 3, downward 4, downward 3. So go ahead and figure that out real quick. Again, variation 3, downward 4, downward 3. Ready? So here, variation 3, around the neck, bring it up, downward 4, so we have the spin, downward 3, and now reset on the other side. Variation 3, raise it up, downward 4, add the spin, downward 3, no spin. Variation, down 4, down 3, variation. Down 4, down 3, variation. Down 4, down 3, variation 3, 4, 3, variation 3, 4, 3, variation 3, down 4, down 3. Keep it going. Variation, down 4, down 3, variation, down, that was a 3, down 4, down 3, variation, down 4, down 3, variation, down 4, down 3. Keep going. Able to go at a decent speed now, hopefully. But also we just learned the 3 and 4 last class, and you might still be struggling with that, and that's okay. If you perfected the 3 and 4 already, I'm super impressed, I really am. That one should have been a 3, my bad. Do one more on each side. And take a breath. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do speed strikes. So we're gonna do downward strike number 2 again. We're gonna have that same target. So we're gonna be trying to do 60 and 60. Okay, so 60 downward strikes in 60 seconds. If you can't reach it, that's okay. This one is a little bit harder than just doing the downward strikes because we have that extra spin. It does take extra time, right? So it's a goal to hit 60, but if you don't hit it this time and you didn't hit it last time, it's okay, right? Just keep practicing for it. So I'm gonna set a minute timer. Maybe it'll work. All right, 1 minute. Ready? You keep count, I'm not going to. Set, go. Try to make sure that circle is going down that center line. Try to make sure you're catching it in the black every time. Try to make sure the butt of the chuck points forward when you're catching it, not angled upwards. So that top chuck is horizontal. The spin is happening at your solar plexus level. It's not happening up at your head level. It's not happening down at the groin level. Right in the center of the chest is where that tip of the chuck that you're holding should be whenever you're doing this spin. 20 seconds left. Keep it going. Ten. Time. Catch your breath. So the real goal behind this one is really just to not miss it, right? Yes, we should be trying to add some speed here, but if we can just make it so we don't miss it and have a nice fluid pace where we're not choppy and we're just able to go one into the next, we don't have to have a lot of speed to be able to make this time. But once you start missing it, if you miss it 2 or 3 times, you're gonna have trouble making that time limit, right? Unless you're just really going fast. But if you can just be fluid and just catch it, that's how you really end up making these times, is just consistently catching, which means we have to do all of our movements consistently as well. So that's one of the good things about doing these drills, is really just repping it out at a higher pace with a goal of catching it. And you should be able to make it, again, always easier said than done. So we're gonna do this one more time. This time I will be counting along with you. Ready? Start over the shoulder. Set. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 62, 63, 64. All right, I got 64 that time. Missed one, that's okay. What did you get? Remember your number. I want you to comment it, as you already know. So you do have to add a little bit of speed in order to make these. If you're not making this, it's okay. This is just a goal that we're setting. Later on, you will have to do percentage strikes with this specific one, and a few other ones you'll have to do specific percentage strikes, but don't really beat yourself up if you can't make these times yet. It's okay, right? I'm just giving you a challenge, something to strive for. So if you don't make it now, continue practicing, and I guarantee you'll make it in the future. All right, the next thing we're gonna do, another speed drill. We're gonna do gripping. What a surprise. Yeah, this is the one we're really working on. And the reason we're really working on this one is because this one is required for your yellow belt exam. And if you do wanna do testing, you have to be able to do this one. And for me, this one was kind of hard at first, and that's why I want to practice it. And again, we're practicing every time before this, because this is the only actual speed or ability requirement required to test for yellow belt. Okay, so 30 seconds. Ready, set, begin. I will be counting on my second. You're trying to beat that 40 grip mark. Keep it going. Time. All right, how'd you do? Hopefully pretty well. Maybe you beat your 40, maybe you didn't, maybe you got close. Maybe you had a few bounces where you just didn't quite catch it. That happens. Don't beat yourself up about it. We still have a few more rounds. We'll see which one we can do the best. All right, I'm going to be counting for this next one. It's extremely cold in here today, so I'm probably gonna make a few mistakes, and we'll see if I can hit my 60 mark. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Ready, set, begin. 10, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 61, 62. All right, I think I got 62. If you noticed, I dropped it. And I was going at, for me, was a more leisurely pace that I thought would hit that 60 mark. And once I dropped it, I'm like, oh crap, now I have to speed it up because I want to try to make this. So you can speed it up to try to get that, and I got it. Even though I dropped the chucks, I was still able to meet above that 60 mark. You can too. So even if you drop the chucks when you're going for the 40, pick it up and just give it a little bit more effort, right? You have to make up for that drop though, right? You can't just go back at that same pace. If you were barely making 40 without the drop and then you dropped it, you got to put a little bit more effort, but you got to catch up. And I don't want you to give up, right? So I don't want you to be 10 seconds in, drop it, and then just be like, oh, I give up, I'll just restart. No, pick it up and try to finish strong. Even if you don't make it that time, finish strong, right? Pick it up and finish strong. Now, if you drop it at the last like second, understandable. Not much you can do, but if you're 10, 15 seconds in, you can pick it up and you can make up for that. So I want you to practice not giving up and making up for it. All right, so we've got one more set of this. Ready? I'm not gonna count on this one. I want you to though, and begin. Time. Catch your breath. The last thing that we're gonna do is gonna be freestyle. So 3 minutes. Ready? Begin. Whatever it is that you wanna do for your freestyle, go ahead and do that. Ideally, you are taking a few steps and moving around as you're striking, doing these hand switches, doing your spinny spins, whatever it is that you want to do. Try to do it, but also try to do it while moving around. Maybe practice whatever strike you feel is giving you the most trouble. And try doing that while moving. Right? Maybe downward 4 gives you the most trouble, so you want to practice that one while moving. Or downward 3. Maybe sideways 2. That one gives people a lot of trouble. Whatever you like. More seconds, almost there. Keep it going. And time. Take a breath in and out. Okay, so maybe you noticed that halfway through there, I just started practicing striking on Bob, right? And just hitting them. Now, one thing to kind of be aware of, if you are using these chucks, which again, highly recommend that you are using the official chucks, they're meant for sparring, right? So I can hit somebody with them and not overly hurt them, but I can't rip through a bag with this, especially something that doesn't move, as hard as I can, right? That's not what these chucks are meant for. I have broken a pair where the string came out. So just be aware of that. If you have a bag, whenever you're striking on the bag, strike like you would for, and I know we haven't gotten to it, but for sport nunchaku, right? For sport nunchaku sparring, not combat nunchaku sparring. And there's a difference. The difference is in sport, I'm trying to tag them, right? I'm not ripping all the way through. So this is ripping all the way through, right? Adding a lot of power. I'll do that in combat chuck striking, but in sport chuck striking, I hit two, and I do what would be in Kali considered a broken strike, right? I point the chuck that I'm holding at them instead of pointing it all the way through, right? And that allows me to score, boom, and then I go back. So if you are practicing on a bag, I recommend, and you're using these chucks, I recommend not ripping through because you can break the chucks. If you want to use a pair of wooden chucks with a string, right, that's strongly attached, by all means, rip through it. I have no problem with that, and I also teach how to do that. So just be aware of that because you don't want to go break your chucks. And these, once again, meant for the sport, not quite meant for fighting. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to review what we went through today in class. We started off by just reviewing our strikes from the previous classes. We did upward strikes 1 through 5, downward strikes 1 through 4, sideways strikes 1 through 3, variation strikes 1 through 2, and our forward strike 1. After that, we learned a new strike, which was our variation strike 3. So it's our downward strike, sideways strike 3 with the upward 3 for that reset. From there, we did some combinations. The first combination that we did was our basic combination number 1. We opened up, brought it up, and it's a down 1, up 1, side 1, 3 for the reset, variation 1, 3 for the reset, forward strike 1, again, 3 for the reset, reach up and over, present it out, and then closing ceremony, right foot steps in, then left foot steps in. From there, we did another combination, and the other combination was a variation 3, followed by a downward 4, and then a downward 3, and we repeated it on the other side. From there, we went and we practiced more of a speed nunchucks. So we went for our downward strike 2, and we're going to try to hit 60 in 60 seconds. The key to that is really making sure that you catch it every single time. And we're really just trying to practice that consistency there. So we did 2 sets of that. From there, we did gripping. Again, we did our 3 sets of 4, trying to reach 40 within 30 seconds. And then we did a little bit of freestyle, just playing around, working on moving and doing, well, whatever you want because it's freestyle and you just do what's the most fun for you. I just wanted to have a little emphasis on taking steps around instead of just staying in place as you're doing this. So hopefully you enjoyed today's class. If you did, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment your times, right? I want to know your gripping time and I want to know your downward number 2 strike time. What was your best? Let me know down below. And other than that, yeah, have a great day and I'll see you in the next class.